Welcome back to the table, everyone. Today another video on my progression into the Napoleonics with ESR. And first I wanted to show you a thing. I mentioned this the other day and I finally found my bag. I have here, these are probably, I kind of laugh and chuckle because it's not very professional, but zoom in here. This will probably be what I use initially to do some ESR battle reports. You know, just short gameplays as I kind of muddle through the rules. But these are risk pieces mounted. So you get 4. And it looks, I don't think these are 15 millimeter. I think they're a little bit smaller than 15. So they seem very close to the 10. And I just fit 4 there. And then you can put like a, for infantry. You know, it might not look as impressive as, what you get with ESR when it's set up and you got like several on there. And I think the ESR bases are maybe a little bit bigger, so they fit more. But in terms of just, learning the game, I can have my formation with my several units. Have a cavalry pulling up behind. Now, I don't have long pieces of wood to represent the Reformation area, so I might come up with something to represent the Reformation area or the artillery train, if you will. But I can have a formation. I also, what I didn't plan on at the time, and I could still do something, is individual for the leaders. So I still actually have a bunch of risk people. Well, that's artillery and horses there, but I still have a few people that I could mount up on maybe a penny or something, so that I could do the, do the formation leader on a penny or something like that. Get something just a little bit bigger and put, like 3 figures on there to represent the army commander or force commander. Some such item like that. But this will get me going until I get the miniatures done. So this is some prepped up, ready to go. Also, if I if I go back or send my wife back, I could probably get some more. These were from Hobby Lobby. They're like little craft squares. They're, really, really flimsy, warped. This was just, I was going to use these to try and learn some other Napoleonic rule sets, which I still could. Like, this would be great for Napoleon's battles until, like, there's your 4 across. I feel like I would need a lot more for Napoleon's battles if I was going to have, large units, things like that. But this'll work for ESR to get me going. Again, the starter box only comes with enough for like a formation, several battalions of infantry, and I think like a cavalry. So I think I have enough to do some ESR just fine. And like I said, I can come up with some little round bases for leaders, and boom, we're going to be playing ESR really soon. I am excited about that. Let me put all this risk. That's what it was. A friend of mine was collecting Risk games. She said she found it at a thrift store, and she says often she finds Risk at thrift stores. So I was like, well, if you find more, let me know, because that is a very, very cheap way to get some Napoleonics going. What I'm going to do today, this is the hobby video, we're going to take a look at some of the French line units. And to help me, my wife got me this really cool file set. Don't know the quality or anything like that, but I was asking if she had anything on hand to try and file the bases. And she said no. So she went ahead and got me a little file set. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. Once I have these filed down, I will prime them white. And then hopefully in the next couple of days, we'll do a little video where we'll start putting some contrast paint on them. So you might be saying, boy, you're kind of slow in getting to the painting and whatnot. Yeah. Alright, so here we go. I'm just going to grab a file. We're going to go with this one here first. It's flat with a little bit of a curve. And yeah, this is great. A mini file. I think this will be perfect. I didn't need anything huge, so This would be pretty nice. And we're going to dump some of these out. My goal is to file the bases so that they'll stand flat. The Mini itself, I got a few points here. I'll have to find my little clipper here. I've got a couple. I'm going to grab a couple extra items here and then we'll go and clean these up a little bit. Okay, well that's probably close. I've learned in the past if I get too close, I end up bumping everything. So I think this will be close enough. I've got here also my dollar store X-Acto blade set, Hyper Tough, $1. If I muck it up, I'll go get more. So I use that to help pull stuff off. I got a broken set of clippers that I got. I have absolutely no idea when I got this, but these are old. I think I had these back when I went to electronics school. And this came as a part of my one of my wire clippers. This is a couple of decades ago, so they've seen some use, but they still work. And I probably won't film working on all of these little guys because I'm sure that will bore you to no end. But what I'm looking for is any obvious problems like here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's just a little part that sticks up off of his bayonet that I'm going to see if I can get here, clippy. For the most part, these are actually very clean. When taking a look, when I was doing the GHQ models for World War II stuff, those had lots of little bits and pieces. This is on the bayonet, so I'm just going to see if I can just clean it up just a little bit. Okay, it doesn't look like this is going to let me do a sawing action back and forth, so just kind of go over it here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh man, that's a sharp, pointy bayonet now. And I just got to carefully... Someone suggested you can warm these up, the pewter, just a little bit. Hold it in your fingers a little bit. Let the warmth of your hand kind of warm the metal on it a little bit before you go all bending on it. Just kind of except I don't know exactly how long to pre-hold it. And the only other problem is trying to make sure the bayonet looks straight with the rifle. I guess since it comes off of the bottom of the rifle a little bit, it's kind of off-center just a little bit, but that makes sense because there's the rifle and the bayonet comes from the bottom and works its way up. So just getting a little bit there so the bayonet just kind of looks more like a bayonet. Alright, well that's fine. And I didn't see anything else on here that stood out really bad as needing to come off, so I'll probably have about 100 bayonets here to do. But this is the part where I was concerned, where I was checking with my wife, what does she have to clean that up? And she said nothing. So what I'm going to do is try to, because it's, if you can see, it's really uneven. And I don't know if that's from how it's molded or how it's cut from the sprue. But I'm going to see if I can just flatten that out a little bit so it's more of a consistent base. And the idea, because I don't work a whole lot in pewter, the idea for me is to just kind of get used to how much pressure to apply, things of that nature. And my cat is at the door wanting out. She'll have to wait a moment. And I'll be happy when I can just stand it up. I mean, you know, that's just something. It's just that I've noticed before, I got some... Okay, I'm going to go let the cat out. Hold on. Alright then. One cat wanted out, one cat wanted in. So we'll see how that goes. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was just remembering when I was younger. I had bought some pewter figures for Flames of War. It was they had just come out with Team Yankee and they were really making their push towards plastic, but they had some Russian infantry that I bought in a box. And I didn't realize at the time that they were pewter. Or maybe I realized, but I needed some Russian infantry. So I bought them. And I think they were on a sprue and I had to cut them off. Oh, there's the pewter there. I need like a piece of paper to gather up that stuff so it's not easy to clean up. Anyway, yeah, those things, they did not sit level at all. And so when I tried to mount them, it was terrible to mount them on the little bases that they had. The guys were just all super wonky. I mean, I guess you could say in battle nobody ever stands up straight completely, but I did want them to at least stand up on their own without the need of glue. So this guy can stand up, so he's good. Okay, that bayonet has got a little bit on the tip as well, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Just the tip. And then I'll try to make that a little better. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, once you paint it up and whatnot. I'm not sure how down people get to looking at the bayonets, but I'm just trying to make it look somewhat straight. I know it's coming off the end of the rifle, but it still should look kind of straight from the side. In line with the rifle is what I mean. So I probably just mucked that one up. That's okay. It looks alright. Looks okay. You can't tell, maybe, but looks alright from here. And now the base. Woo! This is definitely going to be the toughest part of these, because I could leave them like this and then glue them, but without a flat base, that doesn't leave much glue to contact the base to get it onto the base of the figure to the base that I'm mounting them to. So I want them to have a lot of good surface area. So I'm being a little more aggressive with the sanding here. So not worried about being too gentle. That's why I said it's going to take me a couple of these to kind of figure out exactly how violent I can be, how aggressive I can be in the filing. And it's going to be pretty aggressive because these things have these bases are really not level. There's two distinct levels there. So I did file that one down a bit. I might not be able to get them perfectly flat because at some point you're going to have no base and it'll just be standing on two stubby little legs. I still need some base because after I glue and then go back and start adding grass and other elements, I want that to be around the base and not necessarily right on their feet. So when I glue it, I'll just have to be very careful with some of these. Glue them, try to hold them upright a little bit, because he's standing on his own, but he looks drunk. So go home, Barry, you're drunk. So that's two. And then I need a trash bag nearby so I can. So we're gonna change up a little bit so I can catch all these filings. Let me modify my workstation here. Alright, stop wobbling. Okay, so we've got the paper, catch all the trimmings, bayonet check. Ooh, don't break the rifle. The bayonet I want to move. Yeah, good enough. And this one, that bayonet turned out pretty good. Oh, it's got a little bit. I could probably just file that one down a little bit. Oh, gotta be careful. I just about bent that sucker. Gentle. Gentle. Oh, the cat's trying to dig in stuff. Cats, love them. Sometimes I wish I had my neighbor's dog. Okay, well this is going to be... I guess it doesn't matter that these things are perfectly straight up and down. I don't know, maybe I'm fussing too much. You know, just because it's small doesn't mean it can't look good, so I think that's alright. And let's see, I grabbed a flat. This one actually felt like it's got a little more coarse to it. So I'm going to see if this one does a better job here. That seems to be scraping pretty good. So you might be saying, Eddie, why do we want to watch you do this for a few minutes? Because you're just watching me do it for a few minutes. Okay, I'm not going to make an hour video of this, trust me. What I should do, see, and this would be the time where I would do a live broadcast. Instead of having the camera here, I would put my phone and just do a live broadcast from my phone. That way we could all have a crafting conversation. Okay, this flat one is working so much better. I'm going to go back and redo those other two. But yeah, this is making this sucker flat like crazy. Oh yeah, he is standing with no trouble. Let me grab this other one here that I had started, but yeah, that's getting it. The other cat is crawling all over. I got a squirt bottle. Hey, psst, psst. Didn't even have to squirt. They just don't like the psst, psst sound. Thank you, little bit. And they don't listen. Like, come here, a little bit. I was gonna point out where she could lay down. Yeah, that guy is standing so much better. He's not as drunk. We can work with that. Not as drunk. Excellent. We'll do a couple more here with you all. I went in and I tried to pre-straighten some of these flag poles, but man, pewter, that's the one thing I really hated when I was doing the World War II ships by GHQ. They're gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Those are, I think, gorgeous, gorgeous looking ships in the 124 scale. 2400, I should say. But the barrels on the main guns and things, all of it is so fiddly. This is a little fiddly. Not as bad. But here we go. I should just check. Does he stand up on his own? Nope. Alright, so we're going to try and flatten him out a little bit. Come here, you. I'm looking at the pile going, oh my goodness. And that's just one bit of French. So when I talked to David, when I first talked to David about filming and things, and we were talking about how long it would take timeline to do some videos, and he asked, you know, are you going to paint these things? And I was like, I can if you want me to, but that would really delay any kind of playing videos because it takes a while just to prep it. Okay, that came out nice and flat. Yes, that is solid. Man, can I do that with these two here? So I'd rather get them somewhat right. And that's what I was saying. You might have a couple gameplay videos. You know, you might just see me learn the game using those Risk figures, and then later down the road, when these are done, we can have some proper games in this scale. And my buddy, he still wants to try painting in this scale because he's thinking about getting into it because he could use 10mm with some other games. Yeah, this works better. Let's flatten you down a little bit. Yeah, and I appreciate these being in pewter because that gives them a little bit of weight. I was gluing individual 15mm for some Modern Warfare stuff to pennies just for that little bit of weight. They were plastic. I think some Flames of War is what I was doing that with, actually. They're in their 15mm plastic infantry. Those suckers, if you don't have any weight to them at all, you sneeze and your soldiers get blown about the battlefield. So when I was taking a bunch of those figures, so I could do some skirmish games, I mounted them to pennies just to give them that little bit of weight. Yeah, a little bit of aggressive filing, that there seems to work. And I'm collecting the shavings here. That should help and clean up a little bit. Cool. Well, this isn't going to be a long video either, because again, I'm sure it would be very boring just to watch me do all of these, but I did want to give you an update on where I'm at. So next we'll be painting. So I'll just prime. I might just do, again, just a really short video to show you what they look like primed. And then, because I've noticed when I prime them, I can actually see the figures a little bit better, see the detail on them. So I'll prime. Oh, and I'm probably about to sneeze out some of this stuff here. But that'll be next. And then wash your hands with soap when you're done, because the stuff gets everywhere, this fine powdered mist. Again, hey, thanks again for all the tips and things that you guys are sharing. Great comments on the YouTube, super appreciate it. So again, if you have tips for pewter figures, I just found the drummer. Nice. I have a paint guide for the drummer, so I can do the drummer. I haven't found the cornet player yet, but I got the drummer covered. So we'll have the drummer painted up at some point. I'll tell you, these things are small. It's not going to take much paint of flesh to do the hands and the face, just a dash of blue here and there. Leave the pants white on some of these guys. Paint his little plumage on top. It won't take much to paint these, so I'm looking forward to that. But we'll go ahead and leave the video here. But yeah, if you have any tips on things you want to share, I've got a process that I'm doing, but again, I love tips, things that I can incorporate to make it better, or for new people getting in here too. And I will leave it there. My cat says good night, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for tuning in and seeing what we're doing. Bye.